What is going on, guys? This is Spade, and one thing that I wanted to touch with you guys on, a while back I made a video titled "My Dad Has Cancer," and pretty much this is we're gonna title this an unfiltered episode because this is gonna be my unbridled, unfiltered opinion on family values. Growing up, and this is gonna have a story to pertain with my growing up, and if this isn't something you want to listen to, I understand, feel free. But for those of you who want to delve a little bit more into my psyche, feel free. But anyways, growing up, I am a product of a divorce, household. My mom and my dad were married for 13 years. My dad had an affair and then married my now stepmother. They've been together 17 years now, my dad and my stepmother. But growing up, my dad wasn't ever really around. And then after my mom died, when I was 19, my mom died drunk driving. She was the drunk driver in the accident. She ran her car off the road into a tree and she died. Luckily, no one else was hurt in the situation, but it cost her her own life. Now, after my mom died, me and my father, we got close. We started seeing each other more and more because, even in his mind, he was like, okay, I'm all he has left. So we started spending time with each other, and then I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, when I was 23, 24, but she's 7 now, my oldest, but she's really only just now being able to get to know her grandfather, because me and her mother never really agreed on things, and her mother kind of kept her from me for 4 years. So now, she's just now really being able to get to know her grandfather, and it really kind of sucks because I saw my dad a couple of weeks ago and he was up and moving and stuff like that, and I saw him on Easter Sunday, and he was actually confined to his room. He was unable to go further than his room. He is having to use oxygen more so than he was before. Now, last July, my father was diagnosed with lung cancer, and whenever they actually tried to do a biopsy and do surgery on him to determine the type of cancer, he actually crashed on the operating table. He died on the operating table. They actually had to resuscitate him. And after that, his doctor made the call to where he can't have any kind of surgery done whatsoever. So there's nothing they can do. They gave him the option that they could just treat him with a generic chemotherapy that would assist in helping with all forms of cancer, but he would be in pain for the rest of his days. They couldn't actually guarantee that it would work, but they could guarantee that he would be in pain. So then they gave him the other option of you could just live out your time and just be short of breath. And that's what he chose to do. And given that, he actually was only given 6 months to a year. Now, here we are in April 29th, 2014. So he's made it past 6 months, but he might not make it to that year. And at that point, I'm going to be an orphan. Even though I'm 30 years old, I can actually say I'm going to be an orphan. And it's going to suck because my new daughter is going to be born on May 1st. My wife is due on May 1st. And the family just kind of has it in their heads that my dad is just holding on to see this child born. And if so, that's really sweet of my dad. But it's a hard thing to take in, to know that you only have 2 months tops, with your family. And it sucks. My dad isn't really that old in today's standards. My dad is like 56, 57. He's not that old in today's standards. But he's been a smoker all his life, so, and it took a toll on his lungs. Like his dad actually died from lung cancer, but it's a downer, man, and it sucks. It really does. Looking at it and visiting with him and knowing that you only have so much time. I was not raised to basically look at people to have an expiration date. It's just something I'm not used to personally. And a lot of people are like, oh, you gotta have faith, you gotta pray, stuff like that. And Even my dad, he was never really a religious person, and now he's a religious person. I'm not sure if it's a way to get penance, you know, that way if, well, there's no if, when he dies, that he can get access to heaven, and that's air quotes because that's not something I believe in personally, but, you know, he's never really been religious, and it just, I don't know. I don't see myself being that type of person to, when I know I'm going to die, that I all of a sudden want to ask for forgiveness for everything I've done. What I've done in my life is what makes me who I am. You know, I may not be the best person in the world, I may not be the worst, but it is what has made me me. But it's just a weird thing. But in short, I mean, spend as much time as you can with your family. You know, I mean, I don't really like my sister or my brother. I don't even acknowledge their existence for the most part because they're not my real sister or brother. But it's just knowing that you only have so much time left with your family members, that puts everything kind of in front, you know, of what you need to focus on. And it's you know, I'm not a counselor or anything by any standards, but you know, it's like looking at everything, it's like, hey, you have 2 months left with your dad. You know, you need to see him, spend time with him. Because me and my dad have never really spent time with each other. You know, I remember growing up, the one thing I would ask my dad for Christmas or my birthday every year was just to go spend time with him. You know, let's go play putt-putt or something, because I never got to see my dad. You know, and now, after a couple of months, I won't ever get to see him again. And my second daughter growing up will never know him. And my oldest daughter has just gotten to know him, and she's gonna lose him in a couple months' time. So it sucks. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.